Katam svidriyate danda king vasya stanamipshitam danja kim karina sarve Svit katachinrinam Katam svidriyate danda Kim vasya stanamipshitam Svidriyate danda Kim vasya stanamipshitam Danya kim karina sarve Aho svit katachinninam
Katam svidriyate chanda
Katam svidriyate danda
Kim vasya stanamipsitam
King vasya stanamipshitam
Nadyan kim karina sarve
Danya kim karina sarve
Ao svit katichinrinam
Aho chit katachinninam Katam svidriyate danda King vasya stanamipshitam
Nadyan kim karina sarve
Aho svit katachinninam Ladies Katam svidriyate danda Kim vasya stanamipshitam Danja kim sharanam sarve Aho svit katachinninam. Where's those shirts? Danja kim sadana sarve Aho svit katachinninam Katam svidriyate danya Kim vasya stanamipshitam Danja kim karinam sarve Aho svit katachinninam Katam svidriyate danja Aho svit katachinninam Katam svit by which means Driyate is imposed. Danda punishment. Kim what? Va or Asya of this. Sthanam the place. Ipshitam deservable. Danya punishable. Kim whether. Kincha karina fruitive actions. Sarve all. Aho svit or whether. Katichit some. Nrinam of the human beings. This is 6th Canto, Chapter 1, verse 39. What is the process of punishing others? Who are the actual candidates for punishment? Are all karmis engaged in fruitive activities punishable, or only some of them? Report. One who has the power to punish others should not punish everyone. There are innumerable living entities the majority of whom are in the spiritual world and are nitya mukta, everlastingly liberated. There is no question of judging these liberated living beings. Only a small fraction of the living entities, perhaps 1/4, are in the material world, and the major portion of living entities are in the material world. 8 million of the 400,000 forms of life are lower than human beings. They are not punishable, for under the laws of material nature they are automatically evolving. Human beings who are advanced in consciousness are responsible, but all of them are not punishable. Those engaged in advanced pious activities are beyond punishment. Only those who engage in sinful activities are punishable. Therefore, the Vishnu Dutas particularly inquired about who is punishable and why Yamaraj had been designated to discriminate between who is punishable and who is not. How is one to be punished? How is one to be judged? What is the basic principle of authority? These are the questions raised by the Vishnu Dutas. Good questions. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Budale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharni Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschacharya Sattva. When these boys wear the saffron dhoti, you should merit a shirt that's similar, because when you wear that dhoti with a weird army shirt, stupid pictures, it's one thing if you have pants on, but with the dhoti it's really weird. So we have these two shirts you can distribute. They're of good quality and they'll last a long time. Anyone else? Narayanam Namaskachandaram Chaitanarotamam Devyam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraya. The Vishnu Dutas know all this. Many of the questions we find in the Bhagavatam, they're from people that know it. That's how they can ask such good questions. But they like to hear the answers. Here they're testing the Yamadutas to bewilder them so they can understand it. In this case, because it's a tough case, a vicharo means a judge, somebody that can decide, like even in the material world, to become a judge, takes a long time. In court, has to be a lawyer, then he has to be a good lawyer, then, finally it's understood he knows the law and he's supposed to be fair and going by the law, and knowing all the ins and outs of Dharma. Now they don't know Dharma, but theoretically they know the laws and they're trying to do good for everybody. Of course, Kali Yuga, many judges are for sale, and their decisions are not based on these things. But the judge is supposed to be the most sober, person. So if one has the power to punish, like a parent, teacher, government, the police, but they're not meant to just punish anyone and everyone just because they're in a bad mood, which is also what goes on. You have to know what deserves punishment and then what kind of punishment. And Vaishnavas are not so much inclined to punishing anybody because karma takes care of. But we have to try to correct wrong behavior, and if there's very disturbing wrong behavior in the ashram or something, we have to remove that person. But we don't need to. And sometimes even we have to turn them over to the police in various extreme cases. But generally, even we see in the history, the Brahmanas are cursing people, getting angry and cursing someone, cursing back and forth. But the Vaishnava doesn't curse, he's blessing everyone. Or if they do curse like Narada Muni, but his curse was not, it was actually benediction. It sounded like a curse, but it was to give someone a chance to, like the Nalakuvar and Managriva, to have them be with Krishna. So it wasn't a curse like, go to hell. There's one story in the Mahabharata. There was a famine, no food. There was a group of sages, and Narada Muni was one of them. And they found some kind of dates or something. So they made an offering, and when they went to collect the offering, it was gone. And there was nobody around, so they knew somebody in that group took everything. So they said they all sat around, and each one by one was cursing whoever took it, And they were saying things like, he'll never have material enjoyment, he'll always be poor, he won't have good health. Narada Muni said, he'll be in the bodily concept of life. That's the worst thing. Whether you're rich or poor or healthy or beautiful or ugly, if you think you're the body, then that's the worst thing. And that's the problem, is the body is such even the most healthy person who has money, there's so much endeavor just to take care of the body. Just to eat and sleep and bathe and dress it. And then on top of that, have sex and all the other things people think they need. It's a lot of work. So it's not easy to understand, you're not that body. But if we chant the holy name in front of the deities and associate with devotees, then Krishna will give realization. So at least we can theoretically understand. You can see many examples. It's like in surgery, they give some anesthetic, and they can be cutting someone's leg off. They can be watching it. And they don't feel anything. Because it cuts off the nerves or whatever it is. But in other words, you're not the body, you're something else. You can disconnect from it. The yogis can disconnect just by meditation. So cold or heat or nothing bothers them. Hunger doesn't happen. There's some mystic power, secondary mystic powers, and can conquer over all eating and sleeping and drinking. But then when Krishna describes mystic powers, the 8 main ones nobody really would think of. They're too far out. The secondary ones, you can travel anywhere at will, you can see anywhere in the universe, no weapon can hurt you, the things, that's what people want, That's the kind of things like Hiranyakashipu. But they all come from Krishna. But then a pure devotee would have those, but he doesn't care about it. They're not attracted to them. He doesn't want, those kind of things. He just wants to serve Krishna. And there's, Prabhupada said, even much more minor mystic powers like growing hair, growing fingernails, or if you get cut, your heel. That's all mystical. There's no explanation for it. When he talked about growing hair being a mystic power, he said you have to give it up. Because at that time everybody, fashion was for the young men, rebellious was to have long hair. So he's asking these are good questions. How to judge? You can't judge a liberated person, he says. So they're saying that Jamil was actually liberated because he was chanting the name of Narayana without offense. So they can't judge him. He's above there. Normally he's so sinful and he would have to be taken to Yamaraj. They were doing their job, but they didn't know this factor. So when we're dealing with devotees, we also have to always recognize that. Someone's a devotee, even though they're misbehaving and all these things. You have to have respect for them, but somehow learn how to correct them. Like a child, most parents, when the child is disturbed, they're kind to the child and they try to pacify the child in a nice way. Some parents just swat the child, grab it by the arm. I've seen in America, and just pull the kid up, almost break his arm. Some do like that, but generally they don't do that. But you spend time with your child and try to teach it, try to find out what it needs and wants. So it should be like that with everybody. Preaching is like that. We have to know different people, what they can take, what kind of service they can do. That's why we want to have more festivals. People can join in where there's a lot of free prasadam, and then people can engage in devotional service. So we see, like, when we feed, generally we're feeding people that are down and out. But like in America, the homeless people, there's a lot of people that feed. A lot of churches do that. Volunteer workers. But when they get prasadam, then it's much better. And a devotee in New York, some businessmen just stop by and take the prasadam. Not because they're poor, but they just like it. They see the ecstasy of the devotee. But so these things, we all have to be thinking how to be part of this outreach. First we have to inreach, we have to have sadhana, we have to read the books, carefully. Every day, read something, and chant our rounds. But then outreach is the only basic things are there is kirtan, public chanting, Nagar Sankirtan, chanting in the streets, and book distribution. And if we're reading the books, then we'll have Shakti to distribute them one way or another, and prasadam distribution. Everyone should be thinking, how can we do that? How can we distribute more prasadam? Where can we find people? There's orphanages, where the children don't have parents. Usually those people are nice if you say, we want to come and feed all the children. Unless they're really demoniac people. Usually people that are doing that, they won't be demoniac. They say, okay, sometimes old people's home, where the old people who don't have anybody to take care of them. There's different, we have to look, we have to be thinking, not just one person, everybody. Praying to Krishna, help us, how can we get to these people? They're suffering, some people will say they're suffering, they look like they're suffering. Sometimes it's just, it's not really that they're suffering that much, but they think, like Charlie Boy introduced us as he said, I'm the president of the Society of all the frustrated Nigerians. But mostly they're frustrated because they have so many stupid desires. And they want much more than, and it's not that everybody's starving and, they have their food, even the beggars have strong bodies, nice teeth, they have their sex, obviously, there's so many children around, so they have a house, but they want so much more. But even the big politician who has 12 Maseratis and Rolls Royces and so many houses, he also wants more. He's also frustrated. He's more frustrated, more miserable. He wants power, he wants control, he wants to be, Hiranyakasipu. And he's only the controller of a small state or a small part of something in a city, and he's not really the controller. His wife maybe doesn't like him. His children reject him. Everybody is frustrated because they don't have Krishna consciousness. Nothing else can help them. I took one course in sociology. In Japan, the students say sociology is the least popular subject. But it was just a list of, they know how many alcoholics are there, how many drug addicts, how many cigarettes are smoked every day. They know so much. It's ridiculous, and how many unwed mothers and how many orphans, and they have all this. And then they were listing off all the attempts they've made to help people and how it didn't work. To get them money, that didn't work. Get them a house, that doesn't. They burn down the house, or it doesn't work. They just sell it, and buy whiskey. Jai Dvaita Swami was traveling in India, and he met one lady that she was in the government in charge of. There was a flood or earthquake or something, and money was coming from overseas. So she was meant to part of the distribution chain. So he said, oh yeah, and the poor people never got the money, right? She said, no, they got the money. But as soon as they got the money, the whiskey sellers came in the village. And they bought all the whiskey. They never had the whiskey, They never had money to buy the bottled whiskey before they make their own stuff. So they spent all the money on whiskey. So they just, these efforts, but still, if they're the government, they should have some kind of welfare and, medical care for people. And I see they're advertising insurance, but they have to pay for that. The poor people can't buy this expensive insurance. Most so-called advanced countries, like in Europe and Scandinavia, there's always free medical for everyone. Many things free. America's medical is at least 10 times more expensive than anywhere else in the world. Any kind of surgery, any dental, anything. People go to Mexico. Now India and Thailand and I think some China also now. Medical tourism. They have better hospitals. They have 10 times cheaper price. And people come from America or from other countries to get their treatment there, their surgery or their checkup. They can afford it and have a big holiday at the same time. And you see it advertised in India. The hospital will pick them up in a limousine and get them 5-star hospital. So everybody's frustrated. And the reason is because they don't have Krishna. We're frustrated, not as much, because we should be frustrated, well, we want to preach more, I want to surrender more. We shouldn't be frustrated thinking if I had a bigger television, I could show the movies to more people, or if I had more cars, we could do more Sankirtan. That's not true, because material facilities don't always help. Many times we get distracted. Saying that one guy in charge, not one of our ashrams, but some ashram in India, he said, I can't even talk to the brahmacharis, they're all on their, always. But they're not reading the scripture, they're chatting, sending, selfies everywhere. Selfie realizations. What a low. They said never ever has there been a generation of youth that spends so much time taking pictures of themselves doing nothing. Just and even devotees, you see. So, we should be preaching. Charlie Boy took us to a meeting, and the concept was transforming the nation by social media, because we know it's very powerful. So we should be using it very much. And we have so many devotees in Russia and China, and almost all of them come from internet preaching. And that's not like the ISKCON exactly organized. Different devotees just do it. And they catch people and they preach to them and they make them devotees. And lots of devotees do it. But, if we're just using our smartphone to be stupid, that's not what it's for. So it's for getting out there and meeting people and communicating about Krishna, distributing the books. And many people sell a lot of books online also. And even you just put the books online and people can read them or teach people how to find them online. Because somehow, in spite of no money, everybody has their phone running, including devotees. I was trying to say, before the cell phone, no matter what I said, there's no money. The problem is there's no money. There's no money. There's no money. We can't eat. We can't do anything. There's no money, money, money. But as soon as the cell phone came, everybody had one, and everybody always had time on it to yap, blah, blah, blah. And they talk so long, much more than necessary. So money is there when you want it. In Japan, the winter is bad weather, and flowers in Japan is very, very expensive. And so they hardly have any flowers for the deities. And they say no money. Then I went, I hadn't been there, I went, so the ashram had a very old toilet. And finally it just broke, I don't know what happened, but it just completely broke. So they had the most expensive toilet in Japan, like, $1,500 toilet. This guy that washes you and does everything here, and his seat is warm, and, a very beautiful one. Because they know we have to have a toilet, and get the money then. But we don't know we have to have flowers. We have to do Sankirtan. No, we don't have money. We can't fix anything. We don't have money. But the toilet, everybody knows you have to have a toilet. You could say just everybody stop eating and drinking, and then you won't need a toilet after. But no, we know it. So when we really know we have to have it, we can manage. So when we get this urgency, we have to distribute more prasadam. We have to distribute books. We have to read the books first. Otherwise we can't distribute them. And we have to, then we'll be guided by the Super Soul when he helps us remember what's in the book. Otherwise, if we just think, well, we distribute books to get money, the karmis, I need money also. They know, you don't have to tell them, they know what you're thinking. So, but if we really just think this is very valuable and this can help you, very hard to convince people, even sincere people that think they're trying to help everybody. When you tell them that only Krishna can help, no, because they've seen the church, and the corruption in the church, and the so-called pastors are billionaires, and they're just promising people everything, and nobody ever gets anything. Still people believe it. Maya is so powerful. And, it's totally crazy. The church is like gambling now. You come and give me money and you might win, If somebody's testifying, I gave this pastor the money, no, I'm a rich man. I was selling bananas in the street. I had only one leg, but now I'm dancing. I saw a signboard in Durban, and it said, "Expect a miracle." And it was all golden flashes and everything. I thought it must be a church ad, but it was a casino. Come to this casino and expect a miracle, because the winning is a miracle. But expect it to happen. Here it is. You're guaranteed. Like all this betting things now here. Like you just win. It says bet and collect your winnings. It doesn't say bet and lose 90% of the time. Win every once in a while and forget all that you lost, because Maya is so clever. So devotees we have to recognize how fortunate we are, that we have Krishna. Not that we just have shelter and we have food, but we have devotees, and we have the Bhagavad Gita, and we have this Krishna book. Such an amazing book. So just keep reading it, and something will happen. Something happens. I saw an Indian movie advertised. And of course, it was a typical Indian movie. It showed the boy and the girl in London or something. And it said, "Kuch kuch hote hai." Anybody know Hindi? You've been watching the Indian movie? So I said, what does that mean? That means something happens. In other words, when the boy meets the girl, something happens. And Prithu Prabhupada said, you put your hand in the bead bag, kuch kuch hote hai, something will happen. You read the Bhagavad Gita, something will happen. You won't get rich, we don't say that. You won't never get sick. You won't become more beautiful. Like one so-called Buddhist in Japan, they say you'll become more beautiful if you chant this mantra. You'll get rich, you'll become an expert musician, you'll get more beautiful, your head will change shape and you'll be more beautiful. And people, they're very popular, the most popular group, so-called religious group. So, in Kali Yuga, people like to be cheated. When you cheat them, they become happy. And when you give them the truth, they beat you with sticks, probably. It's a Hindi proverb. So let's take the truth. You're all very great souls. You're all here. And I thank you. I'm going to go for a few days and pray that we can have a Rath Yatra like that. They started small, and there was a lot of opposition in South Africa when they started. So they called it Festival of the Chariots. They never said Hare Krishna. They still don't say Hare Krishna because it became so famous as Festival of the Chariots. But now it's so popular, and the government gives them the best spot on the beach, and and they're distributing I don't know how many thousands of prasadam. They cook all on a fire with these African pots. They have like 100 of them around behind the temple, and the devotees are cooking all day. South Indian kitchen, biryani. So we'll try to get inspired. I asked Bali to come. I don't know if he's going to go or not. Very hard for a Nigerian to get a visa for South Africa. But so I'll take a lot of pictures so we can get some idea, And we can do it doesn't matter that it's that big, but if we just get out there, any kind of kirtan party, people notice. If you have the Rath Yatra card, of course, more people notice. And if we're giving a lot of prasadam, people never forget that. So look for people that will take prasadam, or make a restaurant. I see now when we went to the dentist in that rich part of Lagos, I saw a few vegetarian restaurants. Healthy food, juice, The mode of goodness, there are people looking for that. Might be a good place to try to sell books. Mostly it's girls coming in that want to stay beautiful, by healthy eating. But still, they're eating healthy. Their consciousness becomes better. All right? So, if we have one or two questions or comments. The internet's working good. There's Rupa Goswami behind. But we need to get that artist. The face is here. Like the face over there, that one, beautiful. But the faces here need to fix up. Yes, the artist can do either. These faces on this one are really nice. So he knows what he is capable of. Maybe you made him hurry or something. All right? The very active child, Whose child is that?
Achuta, my younger sister.
Oh yeah? Who's the father?
His father is.
Well, she's got many fathers, yeah. Many. I see Damodar likes her very much. So if we're good examples, then we'll have children, and when they grow up, they'll be very, very powerful preachers. Already we have a lot of young people that grew up, and they're quite good. And unfortunately, they're leading in Mayapur and Vrindavan and other places. But they become very good devotees. So, but it's all by example. When the parents are very happy and loving and each other, then the children will be like that. All right, so please, we have Bhagavad Gita. Read it, read it, read it. Then you can easily distribute it. You'll automatically get inspired. And maybe, like we should do like a Vedic householder. Before they eat, they go outside and, is anybody hungry? Is anybody hungry? And they won't eat till they feed at least one other person. And just go out on the road and feed one person every day. Invite people. Of course, right around here, the people are not so poor, but some of the watch people and stuff, guards. Somehow or other, just keep thinking how we can distribute more and more prasadam. The bhoga Krishna will provide any amount. If you really want to do it, you'll find many, many ways to get bhoga. In London, they get so much donated for the Food for Life. They give it to the temple, they give it to the restaurant, 2,000 meals. They give, at the manor there's a big pile of stuff that the householders take whatever they want. The Indian temple, one Hindu temple, London, there's so many Indian, but they bring a truckload of rice every month for the Food for Life. People come and donate rice, and they don't know what to do with it. So they give it, when they see the devotees are distributing, they give it to them. And famous artists are supporting it, donating. So we can do that also. Hare Krishna. All right, we'll see you in a week. You want the young people to come to these leadership seminars?
I sent message to Ganga Prasad.
Huh?
I sent message to Ganga Prasad. My younger people should come.
Yeah, he tried to call me just now. Yeah, whoever's out there on Facebook. Oh, thank you very much. Ganga Devi shared it. Tulsi Devi Jai. Ganga Devi and 2 others shared it again. 10 people reacted. Loka Shakshi and 3 others. Wow. So it's getting around. Devarshi Das, Darshan Patel. Oh, Yogeshwari in Israel. Radha Priya in Japan. Antaranga in Bangkok. Jamuna Devi in Tokyo. All right, thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank Mr. Zuckerberg. Those who are out there, remember to offer respects. Krishna's empowered him to help us a lot if we take advantage.